Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Real Housewives of Potomac review. Thank goodness this is part 3, and that means it is a wrap. I want to apologize in advance for any commotion that you may hear. It is nice outside. It is midday. The kids are kidding, the neighbors are neighboring, but I want to make sure that I get this out. I'm letting you all know right now that this is not going to be my typical review. I will not be going item by item because I am tired at this point of these people and this show. If ever I decide to watch this train wreck again or review it, I'm going to be doing more of a rant than a review, especially after the way this cast made so many excuses for that fight and shifted all the blame on Candace, who asked Deborah several times to stop talking to her and to get away from her. 1 minute in previous seasons, we're told that Monique was wrong for putting hands on Candace despite Candace's mouth. Then in another season, we're told that Candace is wrong for what she said to Mia. What is really their feelings? Seriously, because she can say what she wants to say to certain people. So you like Mia, so she shouldn't have done it. Now you got a problem with what she's done, supposedly currently, because of her mouth. Candace said the day that the fight happened, on that day, once we saw the cameras go back up, that she is going to be blamed for this. But what I'm blaming, or who I'm blaming, is Ashley and her old looking friend. Whoever leaked that footage on TMZ, thank you. You really did the work for the people, because Bravo didn't. Without it, these manipulative, corrupt, selfish, lying heifers would have really ran with this lie. The lie that made it seem as if Candace and Wendy were the aggressors. You know, the lie that she caused this fight. Ashley only heard what happened from Deborah, right? That's what she's saying, right? That's what she made us try to think on the footage that we got once Bravo started re-recording. Yeah, right. The footage shows otherwise. Ashley kept saying she wasn't present when it happened, yet the footage that I saw, she clearly was present. You didn't hear it from someone else. You were right there. That's why the mics picked you up saying what you said. And so did the video. Then when the Bravo cameras come back on, all of a sudden it's, what happened? What happened? I don't understand what happened. Meanwhile, it's so clear to me. Andy and production want to pin this on Candace. Look at even the questions that they were asking. Why is it that only Wendy and Candace are the ones throughout this episode getting all the smoke? We've seen worse from other members of this cast. Show us what really happened. Show us clips that show the negative aspects of everyone. Deborah started this crap the day that she decided to sit on camera and speak illy of Candace's husband. And if I were Candace, I would have finished Deborah by pulling a Michael Darby and filing a suit against her for defamation. Don't play with the people that I love unless you're ready to see what my bark looks like. Giselle, I need for Giselle to shut up. If Giselle isn't there to witness the fight, then Giselle should not be speaking on said fight. Because she loves to say that mouth, that mouth, that mouth. How about we start talking about your mouth, Giselle? Because there is a lot of things Giselle said that should have been got her clocked in the mouth. But Giselle is who they prefer. It's who they constantly protect. It's who they constantly shield. Father out here calling people Aunt Jemima because you don't agree with them or because you lose to them. But we're not going to talk about that. And we're not going to hold her accountable for the lies that come out of that mouth. Candace goes too far. But Mia, Mia can tell Candace how to respond or not to respond to somebody when someone is in her personal space trying to square up with her, and Wendy wasn't even doing that to Mia. But you're trying to tell her what she should and shouldn't do. This coming from, oh my goodness, I done clicked off my notes, y'all. I'm so mad. How I click off my notes? Sorry. This coming from the same trick that hit Wendy with a bag and threw a drink at her. But she's going to tell somebody what she should and shouldn't do. I'm with Candace in this situation, and Candace often gets on my nerves, but the line is always moving. So don't ask Candace what she was going to do when she grabbed that bottle, when we saw what Deborah did with the glass. Period. Candace goes too far, but Giselle lied multiple times about Candace's husband, Chris. And I don't even have this in my notes, but she lied about the other Chris too. It's what she does. You assault me, and I'm going to assault you. Please put an exclamation point at the end of that sentence, because I mean it. It is so clear to me that they loathe Candace for even breathing. Let me get a little bit into somewhat of a review. The big secret that they ended on a cliffhanger for part 2 is that Gordon got diagnosed with bipolar 1. He explains it as it being more of a mania problem, but y'all, pardon me, this little wig thing, I should glue it down. I'm so terrible. Anyways, I'm ready to take it off. He explains it as being part of the mania, and that's part of the reason why he reached out to the guy. So now we're going to say the reason why I did what I did and why I said the things that I said is because I have bipolar 1. My response to that, Gordon, is take your medication, because the things that you did, being mentally abusive, being financially abusive, being emotionally abusive to not just your wife, but to your son by questioning the paternity of him on the show when cameras are rolling, is problematic to me. It's nice that Mia's going to stick by you. It's nice that you're going to tolerate Ink, but I don't care about them sitting there crying together, trying to make sure that they continue to make themselves relevant for this show. Nneka was originally supposed to be on Married to Medicine, supposedly, so she says, but producers sent her to Real Housewives of Potomac because she lied and said that she knew Wendy. We're going to have different versions of this. I do believe she knew of Wendy, but knowing someone and knowing of them are two totally different things. There are people at my job that I know of. There are people that I know. It's a different type of rapport. If you didn't have that young lady's number where y'all talked on the phone and all that other stuff, then you shouldn't have name dropped. That's just my personal thing. I think that Wendy was trying to bring Kiana on the show. And for the fact that Nneka was Nigerian, they went that route instead. Plus, she had a husband. Wendy's still saying that she doesn't know her. She saw her at events, but she doesn't know each other. Wendy not wanting to bring her on this season after watching it, I understand why. She claims that Wendy tried to ice her out by saying that she didn't know her. How is Wendy, who isn't liked by majority of this class and currently being iced out, how does she have enough power to ice Nneka out? Because this is what they've done to Wendy, and it's what they did to Candace. So they can't do it to you. As far as the shrine situation is concerned, Nneka stated that by talking to Ashley about it rather than Wendy, it caused problems. It did. At this point, they're going to be cordial. We don't really care. I like how Wendy asked her to say Ashley what also is, and Ashley couldn't really explain it. And she says, yeah, you shouldn't even brought it up. I like how she cleared her right there, because she shouldn't have. Ashley has a tendency to throw rocks and hide her hands. And some people, Kierna being one of them, see it. But we'll talk about that later. Oh, Wendy apologized for calling her a crackhead too. Kierna comes out. She says she had fun overall with the group before this incident happened. And she does appreciate Giselle for looking in on her when she was sick on the trip. I personally am with Candace. I feel like Giselle did that as a power play. I feel like she wanted to say, look at how bad it is that these girls who are supposedly supposed to be your friends didn't check on you, and I did. She even said it while she was on the show. She said it in front of her, and she said it in confessional, but of course, we didn't get any clips of that. And Kierna didn't fall for the bait. We get to Ashley's segment. Ashley, to me, is full of crap. I don't care that she's dating a man that doesn't even want to be married, even though she wants to get married. I don't care about her massaging Michael's feet every night and that he has a man. Not a man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that for real. That he has a woman that he hung out with on Valentine's Day. I don't care that she's finally filed the beginnings of what would be a long process. She says she doesn't know what reason he's not pushing the divorce. It's not hard to understand why. He's not pushing the divorce because it's cheaper to keep her. We get to the fight. Kierna says, because Andy asked her what happened. Kierna says, I was there to de-escalate the situation, whereas Deborah clearly came with the intent to have this moment. She says, I have to be honest, Wendy tried to de-escalate the situation at first. But either she wasn't listening or she wasn't seeing, so I stepped in. I say that part because here you have Kierna saying, Wendy tried to shut this situation down. I tried to too, but Wendy tried before me. And yet you're still going to have Giselle who wants to blame Wendy for the situation. She adds, Kierna does, that Candace was over to the side doing her sexy dance, meaning Candace had no intentions of fighting. Candace was there to do what you do after you're rapping and you're in a club or an establishment that is playing music. She was dancing. Kierna says her behavior, Deborah's, was direct and it was aggressive. And we get talks about the footage. Because Andy wants to know, in the footage, we saw you in the footage. And in the footage, you were throwing a lot of punches. Like, you don't understand what happened to the girl. Like, you didn't hear about glass hitting her face and her having blood dripping from her and production having to call the ambulance, or Karen did, whoever. You didn't hear all of that. Instead, you're talking about some punches. Not the fact that this girl was scarred. Karen said, I threw punches because I was assaulted. She hit me in the head with a glass. My face was split open. But he's talking about some stupid punches. I don't care if Candace called her vermin or all the most horrific names that you could possibly call someone. Deborah was on a mission to start something, and Ashley knew it. Andy asked Giselle what she thought about the fight and who was to blame. She wasn't there to see it, so why are we asking Giselle anything? How about you talk to the people who are actually there, Andy? How about you stop showing blatant favoritism? How about you ask the questions that the viewers actually ask and not just the ones that are against Candace and Wendy? Giselle says, well, I feel like Kierna, Wendy, Candace, and Deborah were all to blame. You heard me right. Wendy and Kierna, who were trying to break up the fight, in Giselle's eyes, after hearing everything that Kierna said, were being blamed. I cannot like people and still be honest about what I heard or what I witnessed. But for some reason, these people, this production company, this network can't do that. Because if I see Andy, I'm going to associate him with the network because he gets paid by the network. Deborah came to fight. The girl had on a ponytail, gym clothes, regular shoes, no jewelry. At least I don't think she had on any jewelry. She came to fight. Mia even said she approached me and asked me about me calling her a 4, and I'm a 4, Mia, I'm a 4, and I just told her, no, we're all 10s, we're beautiful black queens or whatever she said, we're all 10s. because you said that, you're trying to act like that alleviated the situation from happening to you, and because Candace didn't do that, that's why she got a drink thrown in her face. And then Mia says, we have to be mindful of our actions. The girl who assaulted someone with more than one object is saying we have to be mindful of our actions. She came to confront people, but we're not addressing that. I'm glad Candace quit. I want Wendy to stay up there one more season to promote her stuff, and then I want her to go too. Candace is sitting there getting emotional because she's being blamed left and right by multiple people on the staff and on the couch about this situation. Robin, who supposedly was her friend at one point, is sitting on that couch, smirking and laughing while Candace is beginning to break down in tears. If I'm crying in that type of situation, I need to go because I'm crying because I'm mad and it's going to get bad. The semantics of it all and how they're doing wordplay and how they're acting like there's a double standard and all these other things is insane to me. But we're not gonna talk about any of that. Ashley expresses that Deborah told her that she wanted to clear the air with Candace, and she didn't know if she would have the opportunity. So that's what she thought was going to happen, but there was a miscommunication. Key says, Candace says she was violent, and Key adds she was aggressive. At some point, Ashley apologizes to Kierna, and Kierna gathers her. Kierna says, I feel like Ashley is the queen of, the aftermath apologies when it comes to these situations. Gather her, Kierna. Best statement in this entire episode. She says, because Ashley wants to know what does she mean by that, and she says, you aren't proactive in general about causing a mess. Boom. Kiera sees Ashley for who she is, which is a pot stirrer. Kierna clocked in. She didn't get a flute, apparently, because they gave it to NECA. But Kierna has something that NECA doesn't have, and that's common sense. You do realize there are people out there who have all the intelligence in the world, but just lack common sense. I have a cousin, brilliant mind, and she just she lacks common sense in the worst of ways, but is so smart, and that could be NECA. But NECA's really just trying to kiss tail. Anyways, Kierna thanks Karen for being there for her during the situation because she said that she was very scared and she felt very alone. And Karen really was there for her the way that her mother would have been. I think that they should have spoken more about this. I understand that there's editing, but this mattered more than production trying to make it seem like Candace is always a problem. My overall thought of this show, is there's a reason why I stopped watching after the whole situation that happened with Monique and Candace. And to be completely transparent, I feel like I want to stop now. It's not worth it. Certain things just aren't right. People are more upset, and when I'm talking about people, I'm talking about the audience and the cast, are more upset about Candace picking up a bottle than the fact that Dawn threw a drink and a glass, causing Kieran to have to get stitches and to have harm done to her face. Now, the good news is, as Karen pointed out, that, Karen's business is great and that she was able to not have any form of scar, but you don't know what else happened because of that situation. If she got clocked in her head like that, I'm sure she probably had a concussion and some other things. And I feel like it's really insensitive to try to make a joke of it, but Kierna she wasn't offended by it. To me, if I was Kierna, I wouldn't stay off of Deborah's neck. We're either going to be fighting or I'm going to be filing a report of some kind. You just tell me which you would prefer. Because me personally, I'd rather fight you so that I don't have the people in my business. But if you want me to take the other route, but we're going to do one or the other. Because you stood in what you said and you went on Twitter, and that's the part that I don't understand. They didn't speak on any of that about how the girl went on Twitter and said the things that she said and was basically making a joke out of it. Because even though Ashley slipped up and said, my friend, well, she was my friend, you're still friends with the girl. I'm glad Candace is leaving. I'm glad that she chose to protect her peace. Money isn't everything. And her family's peace is going to be so much better with her stepping away from Real Housewives of Potomac, especially because if I read correctly on Twitter, she has up a picture with her and Chris, and there is ultrasound, and she is expecting her first child with Mr. Bassett. I'm happy for them. And I feel like this is the best decision that she can make. I'm not going to tell people what to do because I'm not making Real Housewives of Potomac money. I'm not even making Monopoly money. Candy Lady money. Like, it's not coming like that just from me reviewing the show. But Candace was making money from doing this show. But as I said, certain things are not worth your peace. In my opinion, they need to revamp this. As I said before, if I do decide to come back and watch this and review it, it will not be so detailed. It's probably going to be more of me being opinion based than of me being review based. And that's just because it makes it easier for me. Like I took those notes while I was at work on lunch. So that sounds better to me than coming back and watching the show and making sure I get this and making sure I get that for a show that's not bringing me peace. But you all let me know what you thought of this episode. Please like the video. And until next time.